Welcome back to the channel, guys. Welcome back to another E30 video. As you know, in the last episode we did get the motor in here, but it is only on blocks, so we want to change that. We want to hard mount it in there. So I'm thinking for now what we'll do is we'll get a strap and run it to these two shock towers. For the back we have this mount right here. This is the original mount, but this will be temporary. What I'm going to do is just bolt it in. That way it holds the transmission. And I already looked at the mounts. There's actually like this much space to work with to get the original S2000 one to work. So this will hold it for now, and then a ratchet strap will hold this, and then we can start fitting our subframe up under there and then start fitting up the original S2000 one and see where we can mount it. All right, so we got the motor secured up in the air where we want it. Now we need to start on this subframe. What are we gonna do to it, Len?
All right, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take off the spindles and the shocks and the rack and pinion and the sway bar. That way we can clean up the subframe and use it to mock up and see just what we're working with.
All right, so let's get to it. Alright, so we got this subframe nice and clean. That way we can work on it without getting our hands all greasy. Now we need to remove these old rack and pinion mounts because the original setup is not going to work with the oil pan. So Vlad's going to go ahead and get the grinder and cut them off. Okay, so now the mounts are cut off and they're out of the way. We're gonna go ahead and cut it right here, and then the same thing here, and then down this way. That way this section will come out, and then we can flip it over, weld it back in, and then reinforce the rear, and then the oil pan will just slip right down and sit right there. And just like that, our rough cut is made, and as you can see, this piece just folds right back into there and it'll be welded up. And then I was thinking maybe running a tube this way and out to the back for extra support. That way it doesn't bend or move, because it's a very important component. So let's go ahead and get this subframe and test fit it. All right, so we're ready for the first test fit. Vlad got the subframe. We're gonna see.
Almost. Look at that. Sneaks
Where is it?
there. So
we gotta trim this right here.
yeah,
Probably like down the middle, or maybe we could cut it and fold it down.
yeah, that's what we could do just to strengthen it. Hold on, let's see. Do we need to cut any off the sides? Is it the width right?
Yeah, right here we need to cut some out.
Okay, so let's get it trimmed. I want to see how it's gonna look.
All right, so the first test fit went pretty well. As you can see, it's clearing the motor now. Now we need to start reinforcing this, and there's no better man for the job than Vtuned.
All right, guys, so basically what they did is cut the subframe down in the center to make the oil pan fit. Now what we're gonna do is actually take it off, and we're gonna have to figure out a way how to reinforce it. We're probably gonna use a tube, somehow weld a tube under here. So let's go ahead and get this thing off and put it on the table and start building.
All right, let's do it.
So I'm gonna take over from here, and what we have here is a tube. It's a 1.5 inch tube that we're gonna be using. This actually came off our Mustang over here. We didn't use it, but basically the bend looks pretty good. And all we're gonna have to do is trim it up a little bit right here, trim it up a little bit right here, and it's just gonna slide in perfectly with this subframe, and then we're gonna do some welding. bar nice and cut down, and it lines up pretty good right there. Just going to do a little bit more cleanup, and then we're going to do some welding. We're going to weld all through up here, so give it a nice beat on this side and on this side. So let's go ahead and clean it up and get it welded together.
All right, so Vtuned got this bar welded in for us. We didn't box it in because it did get late on us, but my other brother Yuri's here. He's about to start wire wheeling it to clean all these edges, and then we can box this in and it'll be good to go.
All right, so we modified the original design just a little bit. Right here, if you look at the cuts that I made right here on the sides, we want the subframe to naturally flow down up under the transmission and the motor. So we made these cuts right here, and as I was tapping them down, I kept making progressive cuts, and what that was doing was giving me the exact shape that I needed to weld it up nice and tight. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna give a little bit of a cut right here, some more to kind of close this corner down in. Same thing for this side, clean it all up, and then weld in the two new pieces, which I've got right here. And of course, this one right here will probably work the way we cut it out and got it prepped. This one is actually gonna have to be modified because we did make the subframe flow more naturally, curving under the motor. And so this one right here was gonna have to be bent a little bit more. It doesn't really matter at this point which way we put it, but if you look right here, these bends, we're just gonna make them a little bit sharper and just get that thing put right in. So right now I'm gonna clean it all up, bend this out to where it fits, and go ahead and weld it all up.
All right, so my brother went ahead and welded it up, and guys, I cannot complain with that. It looks amazing. I can tell you, it is definitely way stronger than it was. Now we need to do a test fit to make sure it's all good and there's no issues. So she fits.
How is it?
Beautiful, dude. See what I'm saying? Look at that. Look how it fits to the motor.
Man, the clearances are perfect, literally.
Yeah, I'm very happy with the result. Yuri did an amazing job. Later, we're gonna go ahead and box all this in, as you can see. But we didn't have time today, and then also we're gonna need to build some motor mounts for this. And then eventually, probably build off of here and go forward so we can build a mount for a rack and pinion that will mount here. So that is gonna be it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment down below. We got more of this content coming, more for this car, more of other cars, so stay tuned.